Right, let's get this done then.
Yeah.
We can go and enjoy the evening. Right, so here we are now. This is for Beat Magazine.
Beat Magazine.
Beat Magazine. So, being a history expert, tell us about how the idea of a limited edition whiskey came about to commemorate one of the most daring raids of World War II.
Well, the thing is, I do like whiskey. Am I talking to the camera or am I talking?
Either or.
I do like whiskey.
Cheers.
Cheers. There's nothing I really like much more than a good Scotch, and we were looking for a way of badging some whiskey, having some whiskey that was part of our vibe, our Avery vibe. And there are events in the Second World War that simply stick out as moments of pure drama, extraordinary endeavour, and also that are beyond, they're stranger than fiction. They're just completely out there. And Operation Chariot, the St Nazaire Raid, is one of those events. And we felt if we're going to do a whiskey, we've got to let's try and make it as resonant with that as possible, as extraordinary as that moment. And I hope we've done that. But you know, it's quite a thing to say. Our whiskey is on a par with Operation Chariot.
Trying a bit. I think the thing is, isn't it? There's one bottle for every commando.
Yeah, that's right.
And those they were kids.
Well, that's what's amazing.
And they volunteered.
Exactly. So the Commandos. What's interesting about the Commandos is they're an innovation. So after France falls in around in the summer of 1940, after Dunkirk, Winston Churchill writes this famous memo where he says, "We need commandos. We need these soldiers who."
Keep going. I'm just going to check.
We need these soldiers who fit a different pattern to the regular army, because the regular army, after all, had gone completely tits up in France. So he's going, we need to rethink everything, and I want people who are determined, people who are adventurous, people who really want to get into it. And so they start recruiting, and what they get is they get a whole blend of people. They get people like aristocrats who are guys and they bring their gillies with them, and they bring their gamesmen and all this sort of thing. And then you've got people who've been fighting the Spanish Civil War. You've got basically people who love the idea of a scrap, and they're all brought together. They're all sent to Scotland. Oh, hang on. They're all brought together. They're all sent to Scotland to train, and out the other end of it, you get these absolutely wild individual units of people who are really up for it. And what you get on Chariot is people who are absolutely determined to stick it to the enemy. And there's this spirit in the Commandos, and it bleeds over into the airborne people, because half the people who are Commandos are then told, actually, you're parachutists now, which I think gives quite a lot of them a shock, right? Because now they've also got to jump out of aeroplanes.
It's
right?
crazy.
Yeah, it's completely mad. And they're just told, you're now, because they have the Special Service Brigade, and then they insert the word air into Special Service, so the Special Air Service Brigade. So there's the Special Air Service Battalion, which was a Special Service Battalion. It's completely bonkers. But the thing is, the people who are doing this, they're up for it. So they're like, all right, fine. If that's what you want, let's go. Let's do it. And Chariot is in that spirit. And also the other really interesting thing about Chariot is it's when what they're doing in Britain is they're trying to join up how you land on the enemy coast, have an effect, do something, and then either stick around or bugger off. And so Chariot falls, when they go in and they blow the dry dock, it's the most amazing raid.
And the crazy thing about this is, so we've gone into a lot of detail. We've recreated the bottle as a 1940s bottle.
Yep.
This blend of single malt whiskey, so it's a blend of malted whiskey.
Yeah.
Right? Can never be made again.
Yeah.
It's one barrel, 265 bottles.
Yeah.
It's so unique, it's unbelievable.
Yeah.
The label is taking a nod from the original orders.
Yeah.
And there's only one left, right?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. And there's that style that those orders have, because if you've looked at a lot of them, like I've ended up doing, there's the way they're presented. They're done with a typewriter. There's just this there's this absolute feel of, some staff officer knocking out another, and it'll be the fifth set of orders he's done for this operation. He's changing stuff, and there'll be the errors in it and all that, and they speak to the guy coming up with the stuff, having to produce this material for others to use. So we wanted to get into that, and then this wrapping for the bottle comes in. This paper wrapping is an aerial photograph of St Nazaire.
The day after.
After they've
from a Spitfire.
Yeah, where they and what they do is they sail a ship in and destroy it in the harbour, so that to deny the Germans use of the harbour. I mean, it's
crazy.
It's so ballsy, the whole thing, and you think
so crazy,
and you think every man on that job knew it was pretty much a one-way trip, because those who aren't killed are captured. No one gets away. You know?
And that's what strikes me, is that, my kids now are 16, 19.
Yeah.
Right? And they would have been volunteering.
Yeah.
And I look at them now, these young kids. I'm like, I can't imagine my son's doing that. And these guys were 19.
Yeah. But they all knew the push had come to shove. They all knew this was the time to get in. And then and also what they weren't going to do was sit around and wait. Because there was the feeling that if you joined the regular army, you'd sit around and wait, or you'd go somewhere ordinary.
Yeah.
Whereas if you join the Commandos, you're going to do something crazy like this.
Going to get on it was a US destroyer, wasn't it, or battleship or something. Yeah. It was like a small US ship from the 1930s.
Yeah.
And then they reconfigured it to look like a Kriegsmarine boat.
That's right.
With the funnels,
skullduggery.
And they filled it with explosives.
Yeah.
And it's bristling with Commandos.
Yeah.
265 of them.
Yeah.
265. Right, I'm going to get into the interview for Ian. So, I also believe you. So this is quite a collector's item.
Yeah.
You know that.
Yeah.
One of the questions that Ian's asked is, he's done some research and he thinks you lost your grandfather at Dunkirk.
My grandfather, my mother's dad, James Ritchie, was a captain in the 2nd Bucks Battalion, who were Ox and Bucks Light Infantry, and they were the territorial, the reservist battalion. And he joined the army. Well, basically what happened in 1939, they said to all the territorial people, all the reservists, right, you're in now. They signed them all up at the same time as running conscription in. And he was a banker, worked in the City of London, and he was in the Honourable Artillery Company, which is basically a city TA regiment.
Yeah.
And it's all a bit smart, and he thought they were quite unserious soldiers, and he wanted to be serious about his soldiering. So he went back to his county regiment, because he lived in Marlow, went back to his county regiment, joined the Bucks, the Ox and Bucks, and by the time he got to... So he then goes to France in the autumn of 1939, after the war starts, and he's there, and I've read all his letters home to my grandmother, and he's there going, we haven't got any kit, and it's very cold, and they had a hard winter in France in the winter of 1939.
Was he up near the Belgian border?
Yeah. So they were what they did is they did the D plan. So the British Expeditionary Force, their plan was they were going to march up into Belgium, up to the Deal River, up to there, and then hold the Germans on the what was the French left flank. So the British were in the north of France. They were going to go up into Belgium, hold the Germans there as the Germans came in, because they were expecting the Germans to come in through Holland and then in through Belgium. So they marched up to there, and then when the Germans punched through in the Ardennes, they had to turn around and march back. And the Ox and Bucks, their lineage is they are the 52nd Regiment of Foot, and the 52nd Regiment of Foot are the people who put in the charge at Waterloo in 1815, and who, according to that regiment, they're the people who finished the French off at Waterloo, right? Other people claim credit, but if you're Ox and Bucks, like my family are, 52nd Regiment, it was Ox and Bucks. So, and when they deployed into Belgium, they went to Waterloo, so they went up as far as the Waterloo battlefield into Belgium.
Wow.
Where their forebears had, won the Battle of Waterloo. Anyway, then they had to bug back out, and they ended up in a town called Hazebrouck, which is to the southeast of Dunkirk, and they were part of this sort of crust that was formed. It's kind of 25 miles inland from Dunkirk, where they held up the German 8th, I think it's the 8th Panzer Division. They held them up, with the Worcesters on their left at Cassel, and all these county regiments, all like digging in and hanging on. And in Hazebrouck, the Bucks Battalion in Hazebrouck, and that battalion was destroyed eventually, But they held the Germans off for 2-3 days, and they were like infantry.
But did they know they weren't going to make it back to Dunkirk then?
Yeah.
Did they basically know?
They knew once
they were saving everybody else.
They knew once they're in Hasbrook, they were part of a big delaying action to make sure that because you fall back in.
Yeah. And you're the last line.
I think they were the one. I think they were the last. I think they were the sort of one of the outsides of the cross.
That's what I mean. They were not the last line for the whole beach, but they were
one of the hold them up as long as you can. And and the Germans in their battle diary say, surely these guys are like crack troops, and they weren't. They were. Like I say, my grandfather was a banker. There were three professional soldiers in the 2nd Bucks Battalion at the time.
Oh my God.
First Bucks Battalion, sorry. There were 3 professional soldiers, so there was the quartermaster was a pro, one of the company commanders and someone else.
Oh my God.
And they were a county battalion, so everyone knew everyone.
Just dug in.
And they dug in and they held out, and there's the orphanage in the middle of the town.
Oh my God.
Where eventually the order, every man for himself, went out. And so everyone split. But what is amazing is a load of guys did get to Dunkirk and did get out. And one of them, there was a guy called Titch Rayner, who I met 20 years ago. He's not with us anymore, who was in the gliders on D-Day at Pegasus Bridge when the Ox and Bucks landed on D-Day.
He's there as a county soldier.
Yeah.
Right? Holding the cross.
Yeah.
Exit out of Dunkirk, goes in as a glider.
Yeah.
On D-Day.
And their thing was kind of
4 years later.
Their thing was kind of last out, first in, right? And I remember meeting.
That is like boys' own
It was
stuff.
pretty cool. I remember meeting him all those years ago, and him going, "Oh, your grandfather was a lovely bloke. He made me a cup of tea." But the thing about that is, my grandfather was the adjutant in the battalion, and his job is to basically kind of run the discipline and run the mail and tell people off, right? And so for him to say, "I like your grandpa," like all those years later, was kind of he was clearly awesome. Was saying the right thing at the right time.
Oh, that is awesome. But we'll just jump into Ian's questions because they're about music, which I think is good for you. I'm just seeing how many minutes I've got left. I've got 0 minutes.
Hang on, I just need.
Do you need a spot more whiskey? Or are you good?
No, I'm all right.
Sure.
It's a bad idea. I mean, I'd love some.
Well, I do. It's my bottle.
Right. Let me drink. Was that?
There's only a dash in it.
Okay.
Anyway.
Well, great. But it's so good. It's so good.
I'm so proud of it.
No, it's an amazing thing to have done.
Right, am I recording? Yes, we're recording.
Great.
We've got everybody. Right. Can you remember the first record you bought?
Yes. I do know the first record I bought. The first record I bought by myself, so not like. Because we had a lot, we had sort of Womble's records, Womble's cassettes,
right?
And we had Rolf Harris's greatest hits, surely one of the forbidden records now. But the first album I bought myself for myself was "And Then There Were Three" by Genesis.
Okay, that's crazy because that actually comes up as a question in a minute.
Right.
Did you go out to many gigs, and were there any that stood out to you? When I was a kid, I didn't go to many. I went to boarding school, so we didn't go to gigs. So I have this very weird sort of media deprived teen years where what we got was on the telly when we were allowed to watch telly, and we had sometimes had the radio on in the morning, but not very much. And so we lived in this really like, so when I started out as a stand-up comic, right, I'd see other people and they'd be talking about stuff on telly, it's like just like this, just like that. I think I don't know what they're talking about. Like kids' TV programs, like what's he talking about? I don't know. Right, what the fuck, right? So I live in this very. When I was a kid, it was quite arid. We'd go, we didn't go to anything. So I remember the Chris Barber band came, and Chris Barber was a jazz musician, played the trombone, and he'd had hits in the 50s and early 60s playing like an English Dixie version of English Dixie, like a big, not Dixie though, like a big sound version. He was and he's one of the people who, I think John Mayall, who's one of the great blues guitarists of the 60s, played in Barber's band for a bit. Anyway, they would come and play at our school, because my school was very like, rock music isn't real music. In the 80s, rock music isn't real music, but we'll allow you basically some mainstream trad jazz recooked via the 1950s. So I can't. I've not got I didn't see the Clash or anything. I've got none of that. Okay, that's amazing. So amazingly, the question that came up after that was, you love rock bands like Genesis.
Yeah.
There you go, first album.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
And King Crimson.
Yeah.
Did the young Al Murray have any posters on his bedroom wall?
No, because again, I went to boarding school, and what boarding school was like in the 80s, and it's maybe changed now because they've all got their own rooms now, but we were all in together, right? So, you know, there'd be a bloke in the bed next to you, a bloke in the bed next to you there, right? So we didn't have anywhere to put posters up. And then later on, you'd have a study and you might put some stuff up, but I didn't have any. No is the answer.
No is the answer.
Yeah, which is weird, and I know it's weird. But then when you're at home, you don't either, because home, if you're at boarding school, home feels temporary. Home doesn't feel like you're mainly at school, and so home is a place you sort of rock up, and your sisters are like, "Who are you?" Like,
you were in a rock folk band here in Hampshire. Well, not actually in Hampshire, but here in Hampshire, because this is Ian interviewing.
Yeah.
Do you still dabble?
I do. I mean, I play a lot actually at the moment. I mean, I play a fair bit, and I've been, you know, when I in the 90s, when I was deciding whether to be a comedian or not, I was also playing music in a couple of bands, and we did the Camden Crawl, you know, like went around all the Monarch and all those bars in Camden. When you go, oh, who's that? Who are these? Who's Blur? Who are they? Like, they sound shit, right? It'd be like that, right? and whatever. And I remember a guy who was pretending to be our manager going, this Oasis band, they're never going to get anywhere. And you know, and you think, but this is the story of rock music. You know, like it's Decca turning down the Beatles, going, guitar music's going nowhere. I don't know, we're nothing like that, but this is what happens all the time. People get it wrong, and then, but lately, so I've been in several bands, and I was in a band that started about 10 years ago in Scotland, weirdly, because my life is like, I'm a peripatetic person. I'm always on the move. So I ended up in a band in Scotland. I live in London, but they all lived in Scotland. So we would get together, we'd rehearse, we'd send each other songs on email, rehearse, and we recorded, called Fat Cops. And we made an album just 2019, before the pandemic.
Amazing.
And then we made we were recording again in 2020, and then basically the pandemic meant that no one could go anywhere, and it killed to be honest, it killed the band. But that was good fun, and that album was quite well received when we made it. But since then, I have a daughter called Willow May. She calls herself Willow May and we write music together, and we recorded about 4 hours of tunes during the pandemic because there was nothing else to do.
Mate, what an amazing thing to do with your daughter.
Yeah, I know. And what I love about it is it started off as, she's 23 now, it started off as a thing where your 16, 17-year-old daughter I've got like a track here, come in and we'll work a tune out. She, oh, Dad, you know, teenager, do I have to? And then we do a bit, and she goes, actually, it's quite good. You could see her going, oh, maybe he's not a stupid old bastard after all, my father. Maybe there's some merit in this, right? And we ended up with hours of music. And so we put an album out year before last. You just put it on Spotify. I say we put an album out. We put it up. You pay the fee, you put it up. And it's called The City Awaits by Willow May, and it's a concept album.
Wow. Based
on Mad Men, because she loves Mad Men. So it's about like a woman who could be in the Mad Men universe who decides to leave her husband and go back to New York.
Amazing.
Anyway, so we got all that going on, but and if she's watching this, we need to finish the next album, please. Come round to the house and finish the bloody thing.
Well, amazingly though, it reminds me, because we're sitting in our good friend Jim Holland's office.
Yeah.
Beautiful. He's done an amazing job.
Yeah.
And you did the backing, the drums for his son Ned.
Yeah. So Ned works with Willow. So Willow sings backing for Ned. So we've got this little sort of cross-pollination, which is really good fun. And like when I get sent a thing sent a thing from Ned going, can you put some drums on this, please? And he sends me the WhatsApp, and then I write back going, could you please tell me the beats per minute, please? Come on.
I love that. I mean, it's really good. The last thing you guys all put out together was awesome.
Yeah, it's lovely.
I'll link it in below. It's very good.
But what's really nice is, you know, I've always, music's always been the thing I know in my heart I'd have never been able to do it. I'd never had the patience for it. I'm a stand-up comic. I'm a show-off. I want it all for myself, right? And being a drummer at the back, That's never going to happen, right? So to have people say, "Could you do me some drums for this?" is very flattering because it's not the path I chose, right? And
So if you're listening, the way to get Al on your just flatter him.
but I can do. But the thing is, nowadays, what's amazing nowadays is I can track it at home. You send it over, I stick it in my computer, I track it at home, and the thing is, I know.
Careful, you're going to get like a million requests.
Well, no, but I know world class drummers who do that.
Yeah.
A couple of friends of mine are absolute world class players.
Yeah.
And that's what they do. And in fact, one of them, he has to go see. You know, his mum's getting old, so he has to go see her, right? And he posted the video the other day of him in her stairwell. On electronic drums, tracking an album because he's got to get it done, right, and he's taking a picture from above. He's in the stairwell going, and it's really heavy prog music. It's really funny, like,
amazing,
because you can do it now. You know,
that is very cool.
Send the file over.
Yeah, wicked.
Bosh. Yeah.
That's a good answer. I hope you like that answer because that was the one question.
It's fulsome.
Yeah. Operation Chariot took part some 84 years ago, and yet here we are in 2026, and we've cut back on our army, navy, and air force. Doesn't look good for our country's defence, does it?
Well, it strikes me as you see, I think if that's what we're gonna do, let's say so. If the idea is that actually we're not in that game anymore, right? That hard power is not the game we're playing anymore. We should say so, and then we could all get our heads around the fact that actually we've got 3 planes and 9 soldiers and maybe a dinghy, right? And then we could recalibrate accordingly, and recalibrating accordingly would also mean having to say to the Americans,
Help us,
defend the seas, open maritime trade, which has been the thing since the Second World War that basically has been the cornerstone of American foreign policy, one way or another. And we used to help with that, or we've always helped with that. If that's and do we really want to say to the Americans, can you patrol the North Sea for us because we can't do it ourselves? We need to admit, if that's who we are now, let's admit it and start there. But if that's not who we want to be, we're going to have to do something about it.
I agree.
And I think what's really interesting is that all our warfare we've ever done, apart from the Civil War where we were fighting ourselves, and of course we won that one, like because right? All the warfare we've ever done, right, has been expeditionary.
Yeah, well, it has to be.
Has to be. And so all our warfare is, if you want to judge how strong the army is, the dipstick for that is how strong the navy is.
Yeah, well, crazily, didn't you see the thing recently for the training? Was it the paras were all loading up on ferries?
Yeah.
They chartered a ferry.
Well, yeah, but in wartime you would charter the ferries. You charter every.
But right now, there is no war. But we haven't gone off ships to take them.
Yeah, I know.
Anyway, we're going to
but the thing about shipping is, if you pay, someone will deliver a ship. But do we want to have to do that? Do we want to do that?
That is a good point.
But I think the actual other real worry is, right, is the army's so small, how will it ever retain any skill? How will it ever? Organisations need a critical mass to retain skill, right? And if it's tiny, there's no advancement in it. You know, you're going to end up not being able to get promotion, not being able to go up because up's.
Yeah, totally. So
up's congested.
So what makes people want to join?
You have to put the pay up, and there need to be more opportunities within the structure. Yeah.
Exactly.
Thing is, I'm a comedian, right? Yeah. Who plays the drums a bit, and it seems that this is obvious to me, right? Yeah. And I like my history, right? But so why is it obvious to me?
Well, it's crazy. I mean, because you used to have where I grew up in near Tewkesbury, you had the REME, right? Largest base in the UK, right? Massive. Now it's all privatised. They're selling it all off, all this kind of stuff. But I remember when I was growing up, people would be proud to go there because they'd come out as fully trained mechanics that people would be proud to take on. Because they were trained to such a high level. But that doesn't happen anymore. So why would you bother?
Well. The thing is, I'll say this as an honorary colonel in the Corps of Engineers.
I knew that.
The Royal Engineers will, if you need to get all the trades under your belt, and also have a career where you'll see the world and great advancement and doing amazing things. Because the last thing is, the last big thing the sappers did was a load of build Ebola hospitals in Africa. No one knows about that. They're out there fixing that, drilling wells, sorting that out. You could. That's an amazing career within the army. But the thing is.
But if it's shrinking, it's disappearing.
Yeah, and the skill, exactly, the skill sets disappear. So the people who know how to do that,
so you're not getting people to train the people.
Yeah.
So with only 265 bottles, are we already too late to order one?
No, we've some left.
We have some left. So you got to hurry up. What is coming up in the world of the Pub Landlord?
Well, I've been on tour since January, so we're winding down for the summer, and then I go out again in September. And then we go out again in January.
Non-stop?
Non-stop. And I have a special on Sky in July.
Wow.
Which we recorded a few weeks ago.
Wicked.
At Walthamstow, the Soho Theatre, Walthamstow. And the best thing about coming to see the Pub Landlord is the splash zone at the front where they get a little poncho. And they have beer thrown on them.
Finally, last question. The pub always carries a pint on stage. Now, he's getting older. Will it be special whiskey?
No. The Pub Landlord believes that whiskey is for after hours when you actually need to delve deep into the true meaning of life.
Nice. All right, well, we'll finish there. I hope that works for you, Ian.
Oh, that's all right.
Wicked.
I thought it was all right.
Thanks, buddy. That was awesome.